What's up, everybody? I know the last video I put out was kind of like a hands-on working video. Didn't really explain much about the car, so I figured I'd do a little intro to the car and what it is, what it's been through, what its plan was, and kind of a little bit about its history. So hang tight. Fair bit of history with it in the few years that I've had it and a few years before that. So the car itself is a 1970 Mercury Cougar XR7, originally with a 351 Windsor with a 2-barrel FMX automatic transmission, and then a Ford 9-inch with 300 open gears in it. Still has a Ford 9-inch, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Me and my dad bought this car in 2007, and I was helping him do some work down in Charlotte, and on the way back he saw the car in somebody's backyard and screeched to a halt, backed the service van up, and we went up and talked to the people that owned it at the time. From what I remember, they didn't want to sell it right away. I think Dad left one of his cards with them, and they called a few weeks later, and we went down and got it. I don't think it ran. It would start up but wouldn't run, so we had it towed home, and this is a picture of it when we first got it home. So initial plans for it was pretty much just get it running and driving. Not do too much with the exterior of it, just get it running, driving, go over the engine, all that stuff. So we did get it running, and then I think Dad had the idea to go ahead and pull the engine transmission, kind of freshen some stuff up. And that's when things got funny. It wasn't funny at the time, but looking back, it makes for a good story. But so we go ahead and pull the engine out, disassemble everything, have the transmission out. We put a shift kit in it at the time, have the front suspension pulled apart. I think that was about it. So we had it torn down pretty good. Well, whenever you register an out-of-state vehicle, it still had a South Carolina tag. We bought it in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is local to us. The DMV needs to come out and look at it, because this VIN got flagged for being stolen back in the 80s from, I want to say, Mississippi or Alabama, one of the two. So basically the DMV guy comes out, and it looks like a chop shop. We have it all blown apart and stuff. So they basically verified the VIN number and told us that they had to go back to the original owner and say, hey, this is your vehicle. We found it in North Carolina, excuse me. And they have 90 days to claim it. So we were kind of at a standstill, hoping that we could keep the car, because we had a lot of work and a lot of time into it. So 3 months go by, never hear anything, and then the DMV calls, said that the original owners never responded. So bad news for them, good news for us, I guess. So we get to keep the car. So the original plan back in play, really all we did to the engine was dingle ball home the cylinder, since they were still in decent shape, and then new rod bearings, new crank bearings, and regasket it. That's pretty much it. Kept it simple just to get it back up and running. So in doing that, my dad is a Chevy guy, was a Chevy guy his whole life. Didn't know too much about Fords. He did the firing order as a Chevy. So it's what, 18436572, I think. Don't hold me to it, I'm not a Chevy guy. So he did that to the firing order, and then had the distributor 180 out like a Chevy would be. So cranking this thing up for the first time, we had open headers, so it was going to be loud. Well, it backfired and scared the crap out of both of us. Both of us couldn't hear, we're laughing, and come to find out, yeah, the firing order was way off and 180 out. So got that squared away. It actually fired right back up, and actually ran pretty good. So in doing that, new shift kit in the transmission, fresh rebuild on the engine, we back it out of the driveway, and I ask him if he wants to like run it in or break it in. He goes, yeah, let me show you how to break it in. Does a one-wheel burnout all the way up the road. So yeah, we probably didn't break it in the right way, and that's probably why the rings never seated again. So compression was low, but it did run. So we got it running and driving, and it actually ran pretty good for what it was. Wasn't winning any land speed records or drag races by any means, but drove. Him and Mom got to take it out a couple times and cruise around in it, so that was good. 2009, he passed away, so I kind of let the car sit. I would go out and tinker with it a little bit here and there, but never really had the heart to dedicate a lot of time to it. So fast forward a couple years, I bought this place in 2012. Have a shop out here, so I ended up going to my mom's house one evening after work, getting a new battery in it, getting the tires aired up, all that stuff, and drove it here with a bad accelerator pump. So definitely had to plan out your stops or just keep rolling through stoplights and stuff. So got it here, tore it down a couple months later. The initial plan was to just kind of redo the engine, redo the transmission, and then maybe do some paint and body work, but nothing crazy like it turned into. So here's a couple pictures from when I got it here. So in doing this whole teardown, I never really was going to 100% restore it. I just wanted to get it running, driving, scuff it, and paint it. But the paint work had been redone a couple times, and it was not really that great. Somebody put clear cut on it, and it was peeling off. So I stripped the whole body down to bare metal and started fresh. Both the quarter panels were beat in and then had filler just slathered all over it. So those needed a lot of attention, and I'm not a body guy, not a metal worker, so that was probably the biggest mental part of it, is knowing that 2 major panels on the car needed to be reworked. So fast forward maybe 2 years, my buddy Chris offered to give me a rotisserie for it. So obviously I took him up on that. Drove up to Pennsylvania and picked it up, brought it back here. And this thing was like ridiculously overbuilt. It was like steel I-beams and railroad ties and all sorts of fun stuff. The thing probably weighed more than the car did. So I got that mounted up to the car, was able to take all the suspension off of it, rotate it, and actually refurb the whole under chassis, the whole everything. Sandblasted it all down, did the body work. I only patched a couple holes. The floorboard was actually pretty good. Got that painted, sealed up, all that stuff. I think I put the car on the rotisserie August 2015. It was back off and on its 4 wheels May of 2016. So pretty good turnaround. I did do the front suspension factory-ish, and then the rear, you guys saw that in the last video. But yeah, everything's got the factory markings, factory painted, all that fun stuff. But it does have lowering springs up front and a Shelby drop, and then everything else is pretty much just painted factory. So, And as of right now, all the body work is done. The engine bay is final painted in hot rod black. It's March in North Carolina right now, so it's 80 degrees one weekend and now it's 50 degrees. So I do have paint for it. I was planning on painting it, or at least jamming it out one of these weekends. Gotta wait for some warmer weather, but I did decide on paint color, did buy all the supplies, just waiting for the right time to do that, and hopefully it's soon. I'm ready to spray some color on this thing finally. So that brings us to the engine and transmission. I do have the original 351 block sitting over in the corner, all tore down. My plan right now is going to be a 408 stroker with nice heads. Not sure which ones. Kind of when I get to that point, I'll pick everything out. But good heads, good cam, good intake, and then I do want to do fuel injection. Again, I'll probably do Holley Sniper EFI. I did use that on my F100. It had a few drawbacks going into it. I know of those now, so I'll fix those right off the bat and shouldn't have any issues. I did like the tunability and the drivability of it, so apparently I live by a drag strip. But transmission, I'll probably go 5-speed, which was the original plan, because I did do 389 gears with a posi unit in the Ford 9-inch. So I think if I try to go 6-speed, those might be a little bit too low. I'm not sure, but I'd like to get like a TKO 600 or a Tremec 3550, something like that, which should hold the torque. We'll see. So that ultimately brings us to exterior color and interior. So originally it was black jade exterior paint, white vinyl top, and then green interior. It's not going to be a green interior. It's probably going to be black with some accents of some color. Haven't decided yet. Exterior paint is going to be early Mustang ivy green metallic, paint code R. It's a nice color. I had initially debated a lot of the newer colors for this, but I just don't think they fit the classic car body lines as well as they do the new cars. So I really had my heart set on the new Royal Crimson from the Mustangs, but one, it's a factory tri-coat, and I've never sprayed one of those before, so I don't want that hurdle. And then two, I think the color flop of it was a little bit too much, so I think the ivy green will be a nice classic color for it. And then it won't have a vinyl top going forward. It's going to be all color, so simple, smooth. The exterior chrome, not sure what I'm going to do with that yet because I despise chrome. I hate to say that, but I have something planned, but I'm not sure how well it's going to execute. Something to do with powder coating to that extent, so we'll see. I think what I'll do is once the car's painted, I'll figure out what color or what finish all the chrome needs to be and kind of do it all the same. There won't be much left. It's just going to be window trim and bumpers, basically. So yeah, I do have the car pulled out, so we'll do a little walk around and I'll give you guys an update of how the car's sitting right now, how everything's looking, and give you guys some of the inside details. All right, here's my little test piece. That is ivy green metallic in full sunlight, which looks pretty cool. This is an extra piece that I messed up early on, so it turned into my test piece. That was guard metallic from the newer Mustangs, and then that's a whoopsie doodle with a DA sander. That's the original color, black jade. You can see that's more of a goldish brown than this. So I like this. In the sunlight, it really pops, but in the shade, it kind of dulls itself out, which I like, which is kind of what I wanted with the major body line going down the side. I think it'll be a nice little flip-flop. So here it is as it sits today. Everything's in high build, sanded with 400 grit. So it's got a nice sheen to it. I wet checked everything, did the reflection checks. Everything looks pretty good. Kind of hard to pick up with the GoPro, but yeah, pretty much ready for sealer. I do have to go back and kind of hit some of the body lines that I left. I need to hit those with like a gray Scotch-Brite pad just to kind of scuff them up a little bit. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to give the whole car a once over again, just to make sure, because it's been a while since it's been sanded. So, but yeah, this was the worst quarter panel out of the two, and you can see it's pretty good. Body lines back to being straight. So I want to say it was 2014 that Chris came down for the Mustang 50th anniversary. And him and I spent probably 18, 20 hours on it. Bringing it all back out, smoothing it out, using a shrinking disc, body hammers, shop bags, all that fun stuff. He claims he doesn't know what he's doing, but I mean, that shows pretty damn good. Really hard to tell, but I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Let's see. Interiors. It's all right. I used some Eastwood's sound deadening and heat barrier, which I'm not happy with, but it'll get carpet. It doesn't really matter. So I do have the engine bay done. I used Hot Rod Black for it. Came out pretty good. All the steering components are correctly painted with the little paint daubs. Came out pretty good. Here's the front suspension. All factory correct markings. I actually did find, when I was cleaning the factory springs up, I did find that they had white marks and pink marks on them, so I just kind of duplicated that. But the control arms are all painted. All the brake stuff's painted. It's kind of rusty. I need to go back and touch some of that up. But that's how it sits right now, ready for color. All the body panels over here. Last weekend I painted some undercoating or truck bed liner on the insides of the fenders to protect them. But everything's pretty much scuffed and ready for sealer and paint and clear at this point. I will jam out all the panels and then reassemble on the car and tape it off for final sealer and paint, which should be fun. All right, so that's where it sits now. I've definitely had my fun with it over the years. Fun may not be the right word to use. No, but it's been fun, but it's also been frustrating. Not really knowing the whole bodywork side or metalwork side has been hard for me to undertake. I've had to walk away from it for a while and then come back to it, and usually things go a lot smoother. But I think this year is going to be the year that it gets paint. I know all my buddies that come over to the garage laugh at my board that say Cougar Paint 2018, Cougar Paint 2019, 2020. Always busting my chops about not getting it painted, but I think this year is going to be the year that it gets color. So I realize it's not going to be perfect, but I did the best I could with the amount of knowledge I have with bodywork. So I'm good with that. I'm proud of where it is. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment. Any questions, comments, concerns, throw them down there. I'll respond back to you, and hopefully this video I can start documenting going forward and bring you guys more up to speed with it. It'd be kind of a fun tag along project for you guys and me. So yeah, let me know what you think. Also, this video is proof for all my friends that have never seen me without a hat on that I actually do have hair and a head.